Hi folks, today I want to show you how to turn this into this. I keep getting questions about how to achieve gradients and what glazes are. So first of all, a glaze is usually a thin paint of transparent pigments, which is used to change the hue of a color, the tone if you will, to a different one by applying it on top. Imagine it like colored glass windows in a church. When we're talking about applying gradients to miniatures, then we usually don't mean real glazes, but we mean paints in glaze consistency. These are paints which are thinned down quite a lot. Personally, I don't actually thin down the paints, but I'm using a wet palette to pick just tiny amounts and wipe off the excess. To do so, I prepare the brush by first cleaning it and then wiping off the water on a tissue while keeping the bristles moist but not soaked. The amount of paint I pick up afterwards is very low and the brush is still just moist. Using a thumbnail or the palette paper helps confirming the right amount. The blending process itself is then just painting small strokes either along that edge that needs to be blended or making crossed strokes or even perpendicular ones. Moving the brush in a certain direction and lifting it at a certain spot will make sure that most pigments will gather at that very last spot touching the surface. You can use that to accumulate more pigments in one spot and to use the natural distribution to form a gradient going out from that spot. From here on, it's all just repetition until you're satisfied. The real problem you can run into is going too far, meaning you're applying the layers too thick. Going back can be very tricky. The dark blue I'm using here applied over the lighter blue looks much different than using the light blue and applying it over the dark blue. It would look pale and chalky and I would be in real troubles. So better don't rush things. Just be patient and keep going. Some other things to look out for. Bright paints and pale paints tend to leave a chalky impression when applied in glaze consistency. That may not be a problem when the paint below is brighter or pale too, but doing so over a dark or very rich color may turn out not the way you want to. In that case, mixing intermediate tones may help. Another mistake that can ruin your entire paint job is rushing over a spot that has not dried yet. I think in the video you can see pretty clearly where the paint is still wet and where it isn't. Using just small amounts of paints helps speeding up the drying process. Otherwise, if you paint over a wet spot, you may rip out the still drying parts, leaving some kind of a hole, which can be very annoying to repair. One reason for my miniatures to be always very striking in color is using darker paints with very transparent pigments and layering them in glaze consistency over the brighter base coats. This results in very strong saturations. Alright, that's it for today. Give it a try and good luck. I hope you found it useful.